All right, let's talk about cybersecurity. You know, it feels like defenders are always playing catch up, always one step behind. Well, today, we're diving into a huge shift in that race, how AI is flipping the script, moving security teams from just reacting to threats to actually predicting them. Let's jump right in. So, what if your security system wasn't just a silent alarm, but more like a detective? I mean, a detective that could actually understand your entire digital world, connect all these seemingly random clues, and then, get this, predict what an attacker is going to do next. That's the promise here, and that's exactly what we're breaking down.
The biggest problem for any security operations center, a SOC, isn't a lack of data. Oh no, it's the total opposite. They're absolutely drowning in it. Just picture this, a constant storm of alerts coming from dozens of different tools, none of which are speaking the same language. The real challenge? Connecting those dots before it's way too late.
Okay, so this is where a whole new approach comes into play, all built around the Microsoft Sentinel platform. The whole idea is to create a single command center to bring some order to all that chaos. Let's break down the three key parts.
First up, you've got the foundation. The Sentinel data lake. The best way to think about this is like you're about to solve a giant jigsaw puzzle, right? Before you can even start to see the picture, you've got to get all the pieces out of their separate boxes and dump them onto one table. That's exactly what the data lake does. It pulls together security data from hundreds of places, your cloud, your network, your apps, everything, all in one spot. So now you've got all your data on the table. How do you possibly make sense of it all? Well, that's where the Sentinel graph comes in. This thing is like the classic detective's corkboard with all the red string connecting clues. It automatically maps out the relationships between all your users, devices, and data. And just like that, it shows you hidden attack paths and what we call the blast radius of a potential breach. And this brings us to the AI Master Detective, the Sentinel MCP server. Okay, this is the real game changer. It means analysts can finally ditch writing complicated code and just ask questions. In plain English, the AI then does all the hard work, reasoning over all that unified data to find answers and stop threats way, way faster than ever before. All right, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty cool, right? But how does it actually hold up in a real-world attack? Let's walk through an investigation step by step and see these tools in action.
So here's the scene. Our investigation kicks off with an alert for a pretty nasty multi-stage attack. And we found the entry point, a user named Mark Gafar. His credentials have been compromised. Now, in the old days, this would set off a frantic manual scramble for clues. But not anymore. The process today is so much more streamlined. It's really 3 steps. First, the analyst can instantly visualize the potential blast radius. Second, they just ask the AI for context, using natural language. And third, they expand the hunt based on what the AI finds. In cybersecurity, speed is literally everything, and this is built for speed.
So instead of wasting precious time trying to write some complex query, the analyst just asks, plain and simple, what do we know about user Mark Gafar and his actions? And from there, the AI does the heavy lifting, running a bunch of queries in the background to piece the whole story together.
And bam, almost instantly, the Sentinel graph shows the attacker's most likely next move. It identifies the shortest path to a really high-value target, a critical asset called the WG Prod Key Vault. Now, knowing this ahead of time, that is a massive advantage. It lets the security team get out in front of the attacker for once.
But, what if the risk isn't just sitting in your cloud infrastructure? A lot of the time, these threats can stretch all the way into your core business applications. So let's see how the system can be customized to connect those dots too, giving you an even bigger, clearer picture. And here's where you can really see that next evolution. On the left, you've got your standard security view, your users, devices, cloud stuff. But on the right, that's the custom view. By pulling in data from a critical business app like Salesforce, you create a much, much richer identity graph. You're mapping security risk directly to business risk. Now, with all this richer data, the analysts can ask way more powerful questions. So they pivot to another user, Alberto Pock, and ask the AI to analyze him using this new custom graph. They ask specifically, is there a risk to Salesforce? And the answer comes back as a definite yes. The AI uncovers that Alberto is a help desk admin with some seriously dangerous and previously hidden privileges. It turns out he can delegate access and run remote scripts. I mean, this could lead to the absolute worst-case scenario, a bulk data theft from Salesforce.
This is a critical threat that would have been totally invisible without that custom graph.
But here's the thing. The platform doesn't just point out the fire, it hands you the fire extinguisher. The AI immediately gives clear recommendations. Lock down Alberto's access, enable just-in-time permissions, and audit all the connected apps. It's a straight line from detection right to fixing the problem.
So let's zoom out. What does all of this mean for the big picture? Well, it's a really fundamental shift in how we think about cybersecurity. We're moving from a purely reactive defense to a predictive one.
When you boil it all down, the core mission is about 4 key actions. First, detect threats across your entire environment. Second, investigate with the speed and context that only AI can provide. Third, understand the full scope, the real business impact. And most importantly, use all that knowledge to disrupt active attacks before they can do major damage.
And all of this leads to one final really powerful question. We've just seen how AI can predict an attacker's next move during an attack, but where is this technology ultimately heading? Could we get to a point where AI can actually stop attacks before they even begin? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.